News Channel 5 is launching a special three-part investigative series. Good evening, I'm Danita Harris.
And I'm Chris Flanagan. It is part of our commitment toward building better neighborhoods. Our exclusive report uncovers millions of dollars, a cross-country hunt, and two men who've left taxpayers on the hook. On your side, Chief Investigator Ron Regan joins us with what he's found and how we are all paying the price.
Well, Chris, we're talking about two guys who left behind a trail of broken neighborhoods. It includes mystery, greed, and a coast-to-coast search by our investigative team. And many believe those behind the scam were simply cashing in on Cleveland. It's a story that begins with homes like these. This one was bought for $900, but within weeks, it was sold to an investor for $32,000. Angela Racian is another investor.
They collected a lot of the money from investors. They took the money and they ran with it. So it's turned out to be one big scam.
So we followed the money from Cleveland neighborhoods all the way to Southern California.
Millions and millions taken in by this, and how did it all end?
It all ended with pretty much nothing. People were out of the money, the office closed down, Michael Alexander and Mark Tao disappeared, and no properties.
Michael Alexander, convicted of tax fraud in 1997.
My partner and I, Mr. Mark Tao, worked directly with the banks.
And Mark Tao, banned from selling securities in 2003, now were a team buying up 129 homes they claimed were great investments.
We have some very exciting and very interesting, but most importantly, some very lucrative information we're going to share with you tonight.
Well, I was saying that they were collecting $25,000 a person.
Alexander ran seminars like these.
Michael Alexander seemed very credible. He was nicely presented.
Complete with a plan to renovate them.
Even better, we have put together a complete turnkey system whereby you'll be able to take advantage of what we can show you and offer you here this evening.
Rose Reagan's another investor. How did he strike you?
He's a salesman, you know, gregarious, interesting, a little slick.
Still another asked not to be identified.
Very slick presentation, slideshow.
And slick is a good description. When investors learned the real condition of homes they were buying, Alexander and Tao vanished into thin air.
They ended up being really, really dilapidated, condemned properties in the downtown worst areas of the city.
Did that surprise you?
That totally surprised me, because during the presentation, they were showing nice homes.
Their company was called Easy Access Funding. And here at its Newport Beach, California office, we found doors locked, lights out. Meanwhile, hundreds of homes back in Cleveland were now sitting empty, some falling apart from neglect, or worse.
Next you know, we just heard a tremendous explosion.
2 years ago, this easy access home exploded. An entire West Side neighborhood nearly destroyed. The home sat vacant and vandalized for 2 full years.
I'm a minister, and all I could say was, God help us.
And records show easy access continues to pile up at least $335,000 in potential housing code fines, more than $500,000 in unpaid taxes, and another $32 million in contempt sanctions for failure to appear in housing court.
Defendant is found in contempt of court.
Turns out Alexander has disappeared before. Our investigation found he's really Michael Pedwell. We found his original birth certificate, and that led us here to the coast of North Carolina. And a stunning discovery.
Found was a capsized boat with no one aboard.
25 years ago, Pedwell faked his own death for profit. The Coast Guard recovered his boat, but Pedwell had vanished.
I was supposed to return in about an hour, hour and a half, and failed to return.
It was all a scam. Pedwell later pled guilty to insurance fraud. Years later, he resurfaced as Michael Alexander. And it's here in California where Alexander and Tao began cashing in on Cleveland.
They were supposedly going to be worth, 3 times the amount that you were buying them for.
Palm trees and sun-drenched beaches are a long way from Cuyahoga County's foreclosure crisis. But what we found here in Southern California is something no one has been able to find until now. Please leave. I'd like to talk to you about your easy access funding, please. Please leave. Please, we'd like to talk to you. Take your hands off the camera, please. We'd like to. Well, tomorrow night at 11, you'll see what happened next. And it's costing every taxpayer as vacant homes lead to declining property values, lost revenue in taxes, and increased crime. And of course, you can join the conversation on Twitter at #5Digs. I'm Chief Investigator Ron Regan.
He was a key player in a scheme that was supposed to revitalize Cleveland neighborhoods. Instead, it's left taxpayers on the hook. Our exclusive 5 on Your Side investigation continues tonight with a startling on-camera confession to fraud. Chief Investigator Ron Regan joins us now with what he's found.
Well, Chris, we're talking about a guy who helped run an investment scheme based on buying and selling foreclosed homes in Cleveland. And no one's been able to find him until now. It was supposed to rehab homes like these. Investors felt good about what they were doing.
It's supposed to be a win-win all the way around.
Rose Reagan said she gave $60,000 to this man, Mark Tao. Together with Michael Alexander, they pitched their scheme in seminars like these.
Mark has been an attorney, practiced law for over 30 years. His specialty is real estate. It's also his passion as it is mine.
He's the escrow agent. He's an attorney, in California. He's a bright enough man to set up an escrow account. He's got a real estate license. Where did the money go?
But after buying up 129 homes in Cleveland, Tao and Alexander disappeared. Their office shut down, leaving behind more than $500,000 in unpaid real estate taxes, $335,000 more in housing court fines, and a whopping $32 million in contempt sanctions for failing to appear in housing court. Meanwhile, Tao convinced investors he left town.
Well, he sent a letter to me telling me that he's resigned from the state bar, living in Kansas.
Tao's letter claims he moved here to Overland Park, Kansas. He gave the California Bar Association the same address, even published news releases announcing it. You haven't been able to get a phone call back from him, have you?
Never.
For almost 3 years, Michael Alexander and Mark Tao seem to have vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, investors across the country and the courts back in Ohio wanted answers. So we came here to Southern California to find them. And at least one of them was surprised to see us. I'm Ron Regan with Channel 5 in Cleveland.
How are you?
Good to talk to you. Yeah, I thought you were in Overland Park, Kansas.
I'm here today.
Good.
Please leave.
I'd like to talk to you about your easy access funding, please.
Please leave.
A lot of people think you ripped them off.
I didn't rip them off.
Who did?
Michael Alexander.
In fact, in letters to investors, Tao claims Michael Alexander stole in excess of $2 million, forged Tao's signature, and is now living in a $12 million home. Tao claims it's located somewhere inside this gated community in Southern California.
I didn't run to a foreign country. I'm not running rich, okay? My name is Mark Tao, and I'm here to be interviewed by you.
All right. Tell me what happened in Cleveland.
What happened in Cleveland is I entrusted and met a man named Michael Alexander, who I only learned at the end of the transaction. His name was Michael Pedwell.
Tao insists he and investors were misled.
He came to me and said, I wanted you to supervise this transaction as best I could. And I just thought, okay, I have an opportunity to work with a guy who drives around in a 2008 500 SL and a 2009 750 BMW.
You were the lawyer for this company. You were in the same offices as Michael Alexander. How can you not be culpable?
Because Michael is very, very smart.
And after leaving behind a trail of vacant homes across Cleveland, Tao now admits it was all a fraud.
You could blame it on me. You could blame it on Michael Alexander. But there are a lot more people at fault in this big game than just me and others. Mr. Alexander is a big part of the fraud. But the sellers of property to sell abandoned property and just not disclose it's abandoned, destroyed, condemned, for the sole reason that they can make profit and get it off their books.
So where's Tao's partner? Where's Michael Alexander hiding tonight? Tomorrow at 11, a new twist. And what we found is now getting the attention of county prosecutors. You can log on to newsnet5.com for complete coverage, extended interviews, and join us on Twitter at #5Digs. I'm Chief Investigator Ron Regan.
It's an exclusive 5 on Your Side investigation uncovering significant new details involving the man some believe is behind one of Cleveland's biggest housing frauds. Good evening, I'm Danita Harris.
And I'm Chris Flanagan. It has left more than 100 foreclosed homes and a trail of angry investors who believe they were scammed. Chief Investigator Ron Regan joins us now live following a nationwide search.
Well, we began searching for Michael Alexander last January. His former business partner told us he stole millions of dollars, money that was raised to buy foreclosed homes here in Cleveland, including one that exploded. Investors say he disappeared into thin air until now. Hey, Michael, I wanted to ask you a question. How are you? I'm in News Channel 5 Cleveland. Can you tell me what you did with millions of dollars that investors gave your company? He's one of the men that investors told us took their money and ran.
Millions and millions taken in by this, and how did it all end?
It all ended with pretty much nothing. People were out of the money, the office closed down. Michael Alexander and Mark Tao disappeared, and no properties.
Michael Alexander and Mark Tao were business partners.
My partner and I, Mr. Mark Tao, work directly with the banks.
In this video, Alexander describes the deal.
We have some very exciting and very interesting, but most importantly, some very lucrative information we're going to share with you tonight.
Easy access funding bought up at least 129 homes in Cleveland. But records show the company has ignored $335,000 in housing code fines, $500,000 more in unpaid taxes, and another $32 million in contempt sanctions for failure to appear in housing court over the last 3 years. Our investigation got the attention of prosecutors.
We are reviewing their conduct here in our community.
As prosecutors back in Cleveland review Michael Alexander and easy access for possible criminal charges, a tip took us here to Philadelphia, and another surprise.
Mark has been an attorney, practiced law for over 30 years. His specialty is real estate. Is also his passion as his mind.
She asked not to be identified, but after spotting our Newsnet 5 investigation online, she called us from Philadelphia. Alexander, she said, was in town pitching a different business deal.
This is wild. This is the same person that I met.
But when we arrived at a Philadelphia hotel, Alexander was gone. From Cleveland to Southern California and Philadelphia to Texas, we finally caught up with Michael Alexander here in Dallas, and he had some surprising answers. Can you tell me what you did with millions of dollars that investors gave your company?
I didn't do anything with it. All the money went into Mark Tao's account.
Really? He claims that you help defraud people.
Well, that's not true. As I told you, if you check the records, you'll find that there was only one bank account for easy access funding, which was his account, and all the money went into his account. I was not even on the account.
Where is the money?
You'd have to ask him. I don't know.
I did ask him. We found Mark Tao last January. In letters to investors, he claims Alexander stole in excess of $2 million and forged Tao's signature on real estate documents. Did you scam anybody?
Let me tell you, I lost $3 million, sir. I lost my license, my livelihood, my health. I lost $3 million. I'm looking at you and telling you that. And I was the biggest victim here.
You understand I'm a victim here? That he used me to promote this, and I believe that he was sincere and genuine.
Mr. Alexander is a big part of the fraud.
Homes are sitting in Cleveland falling apart. Investors around the country feel that you ran away with their money. And you've had nothing to say on this publicly for more than 2 years until I just found you.
I have no control over the situation.
But why wouldn't you want to step forward and clear
I would be more than happy to step forward if someone told me how I could help.
How can you not be culpable?
Because Michael is very, very smart.
I was not responsible nor a party to any of this. It's all Mark Tao. He's doing, you know, his song and dance and his Texas two-step.
But Alexander declined to talk about what you might call his North Carolina two-step. Turns out his real name is Michael Pedwell.
Found was a capsized boat with no one aboard.
25 years ago, Pedwell faked his own death for profit. The Coast Guard recovered his boat, but Pedwell had vanished.
We're supposed to return in about an hour, hour and a half, and failed to return.
Court records show he later pled guilty to insurance fraud and changed his name to Alexander. You were charged with insurance fraud.
No, I was not. That had nothing.
You were not?
No.
You were never charged with insurance fraud? Ever?
That had nothing to do with that.
Well, what did insurance?
accident.
What did that have to do with it?
What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the housing situation?
No, let's talk about the insurance fraud right now.
No, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Well, I want to talk about the insurance fraud.
Thank you. I understand you want to do a lot of things, but I've been...
Well, neither Alexander nor Tao have been charged with a crime in connection with this case, but no one from Easy Access Funding has responded to housing court violations or to a civil lawsuit alleging that their company contributed to that home that exploded here in Cleveland. I'll keep you up to date on what happens next. Live in Cleveland, I'm Chief Investigator Ron Regan.
Last February, we first exposed how homes across Cuyahoga County were swept up in what prosecutors are now calling a pattern of corruption. On your side, Chief Investigator Ron Regan broke the story and now has new information on today's developments. Ron.
Well, Chris, this is the 53-page indictment that details what we first reported. And tonight, an arrest warrant has been issued for Mark Tao, one of the men behind Easy Access Funding. And he's been hiding from both investors and the courts until we found him 8 months ago. I'm Ron Regan with Channel 5 in Cleveland.
How are you?
Good to talk to you. Yeah, I thought you were in Overland Park, Kansas.
I'm here today.
Good.
Please leave my...
I'd like to talk to you about your Easy Access Funding, please.
Please leave.
That's Mark Tao last January when we found him living here in Southern California. Now he's accused in this indictment of deceiving investors who believed they were buying homes that would be rehabbed and sold for profit.
I didn't run to a foreign country. I'm not running rich, okay? My name is Mark Tao, and I'm here to be interviewed by you.
All right. Tell me what happened in Cleveland.
What happened in Cleveland is I entrusted and met a man named Michael Alexander, who I only learned at the end of the transaction. His name was Michael Pedwell.
And after leaving behind a trail of vacant homes in Cleveland, Tao now admitted it was all a fraud.
You could blame it on me. You could blame it on Michael Alexander. But there are a lot more people at fault in this big game than just me and others. Mr. Alexander is a big part of the fraud. But the sellers of property to sell abandoned property and just not disclose it's abandoned, destroyed, condemned, for the sole reason that they can make profit and get it off their books.
That on-camera confession, plus interviews with investors,
They're supposedly going to be worth, 3 times the amount that you were buying them for.
led Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Bill Mason to call for a grand jury.
We believe that after we're done with a thorough investigation that we're going to be able to tie them to criminal activity. And when that is completed, and if it is completed and there's evidence to support it, we'll present this information to a grand jury.
Today's indictment found 199 easy access homes across Cuyahoga County sitting empty, some falling apart from neglect or worse.
We just heard a tremendous explosion.
2 years ago, an easy access home exploded. An entire West Side neighborhood nearly destroyed. The home sat vacant and vandalized for 2 full years.
I'm a minister, and all I could say was, God help us.
Well, Tao has been charged with theft, engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity, money laundering, and telecommunications fraud. Tonight, authorities in California are armed with a search warrant and an arrest warrant for his arrest. Back to you.
Ron, as we saw, Tao did have a business associate. Does he face criminal charges?
Well, yes, that's Michael Alexander, and as we mentioned, he was mentioned in the indictment as a member of Tao's team, but so far, he has not been indicted. Now, we found him in Dallas in June, and of course, he denied any wrongdoing. On your side, I'm Chief Investigator Ron Regan.
The
subject of an exclusive 5 on Your Side investigation is in a California jail tonight after possibly trying to flee the country. Mark Tao was indicted by Cuyahoga County prosecutors after our investigation tied him to a major foreclosure scam right here in Cleveland. On Your Side, Chief Investigator Ron Regan first broke this story and joins us now. Ron, was Tao trying to run?
Well, here's what we know. Tao was supposed to be in a California courtroom for a hearing on a felony warrant that would have sent him back to Cleveland to face criminal charges. Instead, U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested him at the Mexican border south of San Diego. We were the first to find Mark Tao last January living near Los Angeles. At the time, we wanted to talk to him about his company called Easy Access Funding, a company the prosecutors say sold nearly 150 foreclosed homes in Cuyahoga County to unsuspecting investors with the promise of rehabbing them. Instead, investors lost millions of dollars, and the homes sat in Cleveland falling apart. At the time, Tao denied he scammed anyone and blamed his business partner, Michael Alexander.
You could blame it on me. You could blame it on Michael Alexander. But there are a lot more people at fault in this big game than just me and others. Mr. Alexander is a big part of the fraud, but the sellers of property to sell abandoned property and just not disclose it's abandoned, destroyed, condemned, for the sole reason that they can make profit and get it off their books.
Well, Alexander has not been charged, but following our report, a grand jury indicted Mark Tao on multiple counts, including theft by deception, money laundering, and engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity. Since then, Cuyahoga prosecutors have been trying to bring him back to Cleveland for prosecution. But for now, Tao is in jail, not entitled to bond, and Governor Kasich has signed an order to return him to Ohio. We'll let you know what happens next. Live in the newsroom, I'm Chief Investigator Ron Regan.